All right, everyone, welcome. In the business world today, you hear about AI constantly. It's everywhere. But the real question is, how do you actually apply it effectively? How do you move past all the hype and use it to make genuinely smart, strategic decisions without getting burned? Well, today, we're going to break down a simple, but I think you'll find incredibly powerful framework to bring some much-needed clarity to that very question. So, this really gets to the heart of the dilemma that pretty much every leader is facing right now. We all see the massive potential of AI, right? It promises efficiency, insight, a real competitive edge. But there's also this hesitation, this fear. What if we automate the wrong process? What if we hand over control and things go sideways? So how do you actually harness all that power without taking on these huge, potentially catastrophic risks? To get to the answer, we're going to walk through a 5-part framework together. First, we'll define the real problem we're trying to solve. Then, we'll introduce a crucial distinction that honestly simplifies everything. From there, we'll use a simple metaphor to clarify AI's proper role. And that leads us directly into how you should think about managing risk. And finally, a practical roadmap you can start thinking about today. Okay, first things first, we have to frame the problem correctly. With something as powerful as AI, if you start by asking the wrong question, you are absolutely guaranteed to get the wrong answer. And here is the single most important idea for this section. Real success with AI isn't about having the fanciest algorithm or the biggest data set. It's about shifting your entire focus away from the technology and onto the decision. You have to ask, what specific business decision are we actually trying to improve? Seriously, that's the only question that truly matters at the outset. So that question leads us directly to the core of this entire framework. It turns out we can bring a tremendous amount of clarity to this whole conversation just by sorting all business decisions into 2 simple, distinct buckets. Okay, so this is the fundamental distinction. On one side, you've got your operational decisions. Think of the thousands of small daily choices like restocking a shelf or approving a routine expense. They happen all the time. The stakes for any single one are pretty low, and the goal is pure efficiency. On the other side, you have strategic decisions. Think deciding whether to launch a new product line or acquire a competitor. These are rare, the stakes are incredibly high, and they define the entire future of your company. You just can't approach these 2 things the same way, and you certainly can't use AI for them in the same way. And this is where a really powerful metaphor comes into play, thinking of AI as either an autopilot or a co-pilot. You see, it's not just one tool called AI. It's actually 2 different kinds of partners designed for 2 very different jobs. For all of those repetitive, high-frequency operational tasks, what we want is an autopilot. This is AI designed to take over completely. It just handles the routine stuff, freeing up your people to focus on the kind of challenges that actually require a creative, human brain. So what are some classic examples? Well, automatically reordering inventory when your stock levels dip below a certain threshold. That's perfect. Or dynamically adjusting what you spend on digital ads based on real-time performance data. These are just perfect jobs for an autopilot. They're rule-based, they're high volume, and it's really easy to measure whether they're working or not. But for those big, hairy, strategic decisions, you do not want an autopilot. You need a co-pilot. Now, the AI isn't flying the plane here. It's sitting right there in the cockpit next to the executive, feeding them critical data, running what-if scenarios, and stress testing their assumptions so that they, the human, can make a better final call. A co-pilot's job isn't to decide. Its job is to inform. It can run thousands of simulations for entering a new market. It can stress test the assumptions baked into your 5-year plan. It can provide sophisticated forecasts to show you what might happen. You see, these are all tasks that enhance and augment human judgment. They don't replace it. And that's especially crucial when the future is deeply uncertain. Now, this whole autopilot versus co-pilot idea is so much more than just a neat metaphor. It's actually the key to managing risk. Because how you govern an autopilot is fundamentally radically different from how you work with a co-pilot. So for an autopilot, your main concern is just performance. Is it working correctly? Is it efficient? You need constant monitoring and tight feedback loops. A single mistake might be a low-cost error. But for a co-pilot, the main concern is trust. Leaders have to understand why the AI is suggesting a certain path. The stakes are just way too high to blindly trust the algorithm. And you have to remember, the consequences of a bad strategic call can be massive and often irreversible. And this brings us to a crucial point. No matter how powerful your AI copilot is, no matter how insightful its analysis might be, the ultimate responsibility, the accountability for that strategic outcome rests firmly with human leadership. The buck still stops with the executive in the corner office. Okay, so when you put all of this together, you've got the decision types, the autopilot and copilot roles, and the right governance models. It gives you a really clear and practical roadmap for how to actually get started with AI in your organization. The roadmap is surprisingly simple. You start with the autopilot. Go find those low-risk, high-frequency tasks and automate them. Prove the value, build your team's skills, get some quick wins on the board. Then, once you've mastered that, you'll have the confidence, the data, and the governance maturity to start using AI as a true strategic co-pilot for your biggest, most important decisions. And that really is the framework. So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this question to take back to your teams. I want you to look at the decisions you and your organization make every single day and every quarter. Which of those are just waiting for a reliable autopilot to take over? And where do you most need an intelligent co-pilot to help you navigate an uncertain future? Answering that simple question is the absolute best first step you can take.